Hey everybody, Ben Murphy here with the Deuce Kirk team at Keller Williams in Greater Lexington. Today we're bringing you a whole new pros and cons video, but today we're going to a small town just south of Lexington called Nicholasville, Kentucky. Here we go. Before we continue, ladies and gentlemen, do me a favor, hit the like button. Make sure we get that like button because that's going to help get this video out there, especially for those residents who are trying to move to Nicholasville and don't know much about the area. Hopefully this video helps them out, but if you like it, it'll help make sure that they find it. I do appreciate it. So the first pro that I'm going to throw out to you about Nicholasville, Kentucky, it could be a con to some people, but I think it's a pro for those who venture or are looking for areas like Nicholasville. It's a little bit of a small town. So resident population's right around 30,000 people. That could seem small if you live in Lexington, which is just a few miles north. That's 300,000 people. So if you're looking to escape from the craziness of Lexington, Nicholasville is definitely one of those great ones, and it's probably one of the closest cities next to Lexington, at least in travel time wise. So if you're looking for a small town, definitely check out Nicholasville. But if you're specifically looking for a small town that's on the verge of growth, you definitely need to check out Nicholasville. Because over the last 2 years, it's actually had a population increase of about 10%. So since 2020, it's now 2022, there has been a population increase of about 10%. And I tell people all the time that Lexington's kind of growing south. So a lot of the new developments, a lot of the new shops, businesses is moving towards Nicholasville. So in the next 10 years or so, Nicholasville could grow, and it could venture to be, instead of being a 30,000 population, you could be seeing 50, 60,000 in the next 20, 30 years. But right now it's still kind of at that 30,000 mark, and you're still close to Lexington, so it still has somewhat of that small town vibe, and I think that's appealing for most people. Now, when you think Kentucky, you think bourbon, and you have to talk about it whenever there is a distillery in the area. And for a long time, Nicholasville has not had a distillery, and which is crazy because the one that just opened, the bourbon distillery at E.J. Curley and Company, was around since the beginning, since the mid-1800s. There was 2 distilleries here in Nicholasville, and they went under after about 100 years of service. So there was about a 50-year gap when Nicholasville has had no distillery service. Now, with some investments, some renovations, the E.J. and Curley Company has reestablished themselves here recently. They just started making bourbon in the last year or so, and now the bottles are on sale. Check out the description box below. I'll send you the Facebook link as well. They do go through events, so if there's a bourbon tasting event, they're usually there now, so you definitely got to check them out. There's some renovations of potential glamping on site. It's about 50-acre lot, so it's a huge lot, and I know they're trying to do more than just have tours and a bourbon distillery on site, so that's really, really cool, especially for the Nicholasville, because it's going to create some jobs. It's going to help with that growth and hopefully bring some international business here to the area as well. So it's nice having something like that in the area, especially when you're in Kentucky. You got to think of bourbon, and so something you definitely got to check out. I'm definitely going to check them out. I haven't had them yet, haven't had their bourbon yet, but I'm probably going to go find them now that I know that they exist, and they've been around since forever. But now that they're the newest bourbon distillery, I'm sure a lot of locals are going to flock just to see what's going on and give their bourbon a try. Now, when it comes to moving to an area, one of the big factors that I know a lot of my buyers take into effect is cost of living. And Nicholasville has a very, very low level of cost of living. So the median house purchase price is right around $200,000. Okay, Lexington is in the $300 to $350 range. So automatically you're getting a little price cut, but quality doesn't necessarily drop either. You're getting a little bit more for your buck. So a $350,000 house in Lexington is going to be completely different from a $350,000 house in Nicholasville. And I try to educate my out-of-state buyers as much about that as possible. It's like, if you don't mind a drive, if you have to work in Lexington, that's great. Let's check out some of these smaller areas outside the county line, because now your money's going to go a little bit further, and that will help you in the long run, especially when you have towns like Nicholasville, where the average gas grocery bill is going to be lower than the national average and the state average, but beyond that. So I did want to make sure that you understood that. And home appreciation prices have risen 5.5% over the last 10 years. So homes are appreciating, which is great, just like the markets all over the country and all over our state. But, you know, healthcare, miscellaneous goods, statistically all are, you know, below average, which is great if you're looking for, you know, if that's one of your big factors when it comes to decisions on where you move and where you live. Next factor, especially if you're a parent when it comes to deciding where you're going to live, is what are the school systems like? Chesapeake County has a recognizable good school system, especially being right next to Fayette County. You do get some of that bleed-in factor, which is great. Student-to-teacher ratio is 16:1, which that's fantastic when it comes to getting a decent quality education. Once you get beyond 20, it definitely gets a little rougher for the teachers. I know personally, so just kind of understand that. Also, you know, both high schools in the area, East and West Jessamine High School, have a 96% graduation rate, which is fantastic. You know, 96 out of 100 students will graduate, and so that is above the state average as well and above the national average. West Jessamine High School is ranked 44 out of the 400 plus high schools in the state of Kentucky. So just know that, you know, if you're thinking about living in Nicholasville, you're not going to take a huge step down when it comes to education, because Fayette County does have a good school system, but, you know, plan your move right, land yourself at that West Jessamine High School, and you'll probably be okay, especially when it comes to the school system. Now, something that I get questions about all the time is, you know, where's the country when it comes to Lexington? You know, Nicholasville, you're close to the country at that point. There are, you know, farms beyond, as you can see, and when you go down there and you drive and you kind of just scope the area, get a little bit outside of Nicholasville, the city limits itself, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. You know, bluegrass, beautiful farm country. And I do think that is a pro, especially if you're trying to get away from the city. You want that small town feel. You want that country feel. You know, Nicholasville has that all around. So I had to make sure you understand, like, you're not far from the country when you're in Nicholasville. Like what you're seeing so far? Well, next thing you have to do, hit the subscribe button. Button's right there below the video, and it'll actually help notify you whenever we have a new video that comes out on our channel, and keeps you informed of everything that's going on here in the real estate market, especially in the Lexington, Kentucky area. I've mentioned this before, if you've watched previous videos before, and I have to mention it, especially if this is your first time watching one of my pros and cons, especially about the area here in the Lexington area. Winter months can be rough. January and February are probably your worst months when it comes to weather in regards of enjoyment and wanting to be outside. We don't get normal winters that maybe if you're from one of our northern states where it's consistently cold, you get some of the consistent snow. It fluctuates, believe it or not. And the more closer you get into March, you know, once you're starting to leave February, the weather will fluctuate erratically. You know, it could be a second week of March on a Monday and it's 75 and sunny, and it's 32 with sleet rain by Thursday. I'm not even kidding. So just know that when, you know, you live in this area, you live in the border state, you're going to get the cold winter winds from the north, you'll get those warm winds from the south, and it'll just fluctuate. So, but January and February are pretty consistently nasty. It's usually in the 30s. It doesn't really get into the teens until nighttime. By then, most people are inside anyways. So we do get an ice storm that's pretty rough once every 4 years or so. It's been pretty consistent since I've lived here in Kentucky. We get one bad winter where, you know, things get frozen, trees are frozen, branches will fall off just because of the weather itself. So just kind of prepare for that. Just kind of understand that. When it comes to warmer months, July and August are probably our hottest months. So those are the humidity. It gets tough to be outside. You know, our most pleasant months, without a doubt, is probably going to be May and September. So full force spring going into May, and it is gorgeous outside. It's nice, and you're getting that nice warm feeling. Wear shorts, wear t-shirts. September, you're getting more in towards the cooling aspect, so you wear some pants with a shirt. But I know those 2 months are definitely the best months, so just kind of prepare for that. It's a unique state where it can get crazy, you know, in the January through February months. Second con, so again, something that I've said before in previous videos, but if this is your first one, I got to mention it. Allergy season can be rough, especially if you're not from this area, have never been to Kentucky before during allergy season. My best advice to you is get used to drinking some hot tea. It'll clear your sinuses out. Have some allergy medicine ready to go, so when it does hit you, you can take some of that pressure off. But, you know, from an out-of-state person coming in, it can be rough. It can hit you hard. So that's my kind of advice, pre-warning for you when you move to the Central Kentucky area. Now, this con is probably your most annoying con when it comes to travel time. So Nicholasville Road, it's that main road that connects Nicholasville to Lexington. It's not a highway. You're nowhere near a highway. You are on a 2-lane road for the most part. Once you get starting into Lexington, it'll expand into a 3-lane road. But I'll be honest with you, if you have to travel from Nicholasville to downtown Lexington, it's going to be a rough commute for you. It's just going to be one of those annoying commutes, because any other time of the day, I'm talking about morning and evenings, it's going to be bad. Any other time of the day, you can get from Lexington to Nicholasville in about 20 minutes. In the mornings and evenings, you're looking 45 to an hour easily, because a good chunk of the population is going to be on that road. I will say, if you can hop over to Harrodsburg Road is almost parallel on the map to Nicholasville Road. It'll shoot you up there a little bit quicker, in my opinion, especially in coming back. There's less lights. It's a little bit more faster, and the speed, I know, is a little bit faster on those roads, the speed limit, I should say. So if you can take Harrodsburg Road versus Nicholasville Road to get up to Lexington, it's not that bad. Also, when you get into Lexington, just understand, learn some back roads. There's tons and tons of back roads that will get you around and will make the process a little bit easier for you wherever you're trying to go. And I learned that recently as well. So that's a con. Just be ready for that traffic. Now, I mentioned this before in the pro section. I feel like I got to mention it in the con section. The small town might be an issue for some people. I know, again, like I said, I mentioned it in the pro, so I'm not going to spend too much time on it right now. I just want to say, some people may hate small towns, but the cool thing, again, about Nicholasville, it's growing. It is growing. It's getting bigger. New bourbon distillery just came in, more jobs. It's expanding south. Lexington, is expanding south towards Nicholasville, so it won't be a small town forever, that's for sure. But for right now, it's still kind of in that hybrid phase. So it could be a con, could be a pro, it just depends on who you are. Final con that I'm going to tell you about, ladies and gentlemen, if you are looking for tons of big city entertainment, you're going to have to drive to find it. Nicholasville, as small town as it is, entertainment-wise, if you're looking for all kinds of different things to do, you're probably going to have to drive to Lexington for it. But being where Nicholasville is, you're actually relatively close to the mall, Fayette Mall, I should say. And so there's a lot of those restaurant entertainment feels, but if you want to get the downtown feel of Lexington, it's going to be another extra 10, 15-minute drive. So just understand that as you're researching and trying to find out more information about Nicholasville. If you're used to big city entertainment, you're going to be missing out on that when you move to Nicholasville. So just be ready for it. Thanks so much for watching the video, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you got something out of this, especially if you're trying to figure out what town you are trying to move to the most. Thanks for everyone who's ever liked a video, shared a video before, or commented on a video. We do appreciate it. It does help us out a lot, and it does help us grow this channel, and that's, the ultimate goal is just to help you all out, learn a little bit more about the Lexington, Kentucky area. Be on the lookout for more pros and cons videos. We're trying to hit up all the areas that surround Lexington. We've got a few out already, including Georgetown for sales. Check out the one on Richmond. Make sure you're just keeping up to date. Subscribe. Thanks for watching, ladies and gentlemen. I do appreciate it. If you ever need any help, anyone that needs any help, leave us a comment, shoot us an email. We'll set up a free consultation. The Deuce Kirk team will do everything that we can to make that process go smoothly for you, whether it's selling a home, finding your next one. We do appreciate you watching the video. You guys have a great day. From Ben Murphy from the Deuce Kirk team and living in Lexington, thank you so much.